right. We're live, and that's yeah.
Wow. Came very close to spoiling something just there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's gonna be at Fly the Process, so that will be my first CJ experience in person.
CJ is, I think he's been lying about his height. He's either 5'1" or 7'1".
He does look a lot like the Clippers center. Somebody said it last time, and they were
Zubac?
right. Yeah, he looks like Zubac.
Maybe when I shave my head, I think that works with it. I did measure myself formally the other day, knowing that it was might be coming up. I know I'm going to
Did
talk
you say
to someone.
formally?
Formally.
Yeah, I because you can like eye yourself up sometimes.
Yeah,
Be
like a Victorian measurement system.
Right, exactly.
He was in a
In a
top
suit.
hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've just been like thinking about Fly the Process. I've been thinking that someone is gonna come up to me and eye me up and be like, "You motherfucker," and then pull out a measuring tape right
wait
then
a
and
minute.
there.
Speaking of which, I mean, I know we're not talking about it, but this is when the measuring is going to happen.
Yeah. I will say I am confident with the results of the measurement.
Wow.
I'm confident the jury will issue a fair verdict.
Wow,
Yes.
Mr. Formal Measurer. Yeah.
That's right. I'm happy with the results, and I will keep it at that.
Wow.
So, feeling good.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Man, I'm a sleepy motherfucker, man. I used to sleep so good. I don't sleep well anymore. I have heard that this happens as you get older, but I'm not ready. I'm not ready to like never sleep well. It sucks. I get up. Can I tell you, this is actually sort of like depressing. I get up like an hour, 20 minutes before my alarm goes off, and I start thinking about things I need to do for work, and
Why?
I start stressing out.
You intentionally get up and out?
No. It's like it's unintentional.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Your sleep has always confounded me. It's always
My
been a
sleep?
baffling situation. Yeah.
Oh, is it the early emails?
It's going to bed at like 4 p.m. Pacific time.
But that doesn't happen.
And like waking up at like midnight Pacific time is how it feels.
I go to bed at like 10 o'clock Eastern time.
Okay, that's all right. It feels
Yeah.
a lot earlier.
On
Years
non-pod
ago.
nights, you're not hitting the sheets at like
No,
7 p.m.
I wish I was. I did before my wife and I moved in together. It's always weird to talk about her from before she was married, because I'm saying before my wife and I moved in together. We weren't married, not living together. Before we moved in together and I lived alone and got up at 4 a.m., I went to bed at like 8 o'clock at night. It was awesome, but I can't do that anymore. So
Did you have pets then?
I had an Alabama cat, but she's, cats are low maintenance. So rest in peace, Alabama. Miss you. All right, let's go. The Rights Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS, and brought to you by BodyBio, I think? No, it's not BodyBio. I love BodyBio, but it's not brought to you by BodyBio. It's brought to you by Mortgage CS. That's right. Become a Mortgage CS Ricky VIP by going to mortgagecs.com/Ricky. It is actually brought to you by BodyBio. And BodyBio gets 20% off Gut Plus by using code RTRS20 at bodybio.com, and by Stateside Urban Craft Vodka, Black Label Bourbon, the official sponsor of the Corner 3 newsletter with Zoe, statesidevodka.com. On the show today, the Sixers sweep through LA. James Harden clearly has some fun on his couple of nights in Los Angeles, as is evidenced by the Clippers game. Sixers have won 16 of 20 and are creeping up the Eastern Conference standings. Josh Harris wants to buy the Commanders, and Doc Rivers is lying about Tyrese Maxey. You have, 3 days left to get our 2 new shirts. They are pre-order and pre-order only. One, Coach Mike, the Coach Mike shirt, which it has a diagram of the 1-2-1 zone. I think one of the best shirts we've ever done. Shout out Tanner. That shirt is available, as well as I've always believed in Tobias Harris. Great game from Tobias against the Clippers. They are both available right now. You can go into the description of the podcast. CJ, you can put them in the chat. You can do that. Or you could go to rightsrickysanchez.com and go to the store link. I did mention Stateside Vodka. Huge announcement last week and huge announcement this week. Last week, Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka, Peach Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka. You could only get it at statesidevodka.com. You pre-order it right now. Peach. Whew, man. And then they turned it up a notch today, and they announced the lemonade tea and vodka, lemon tea and vodka, the lemonade tea and vodka. So that one, I don't know when that one goes on sale, but the peach tea pre-sale is available right now. Surfside, the best tea and vodka, just sweet enough, no bubbles, because iced tea doesn't have bubbles. Now available in peach and lemon. Fucking A. Statesidevodka.com. You got to be 21. It's amazing. They're selling this stuff, and we're a sponsor. And Mike, have you gotten any samples in the mail?
Wow.
I haven't. Have
Calling
you?
them out. No, I haven't yet.
I haven't been able to try it yet.
No, I haven't even gotten one mortgage either.
Huh.
What the fuck?
Without any further ado, Amos and the Chef.
Larry, sweetie, the man is here.
Say the name, I say the name, I say the name.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Say the name. Say the name. I say the name. I say the name. Say the name.
Likes Tricky Sanchez forever.
Welcome to the Rice Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who only supports the sponsors that send him free stuff. Bad news, Adam Kasabi. That is one, Mike Levin.
Hello.
Hey. how
Here
you
we
doing?
are.
Here we are.
The Sixers just keep winning basketball games in unpleasant ways.
Debatably good. They're debatably good. 16-4 in the last 20. What, they're a half game out of the game out of the 2 seed, something like that. You know,
That's the 16, the last 20. That includes the not 9-game winning streak, right? Starting with the 8-game winning streak, and then
yes.
okay, that's the beginning of that. So
Yeah.
since then, 8-4, which is
Good.
fine, which is good.
Good still. Yeah, I mean, like, look,
They have a tough end of season schedule that they will be getting into, but last night was a good win. You
They have
feel
the
good about
toughest
that.
schedule in the NBA from this point on, as far as strength of schedule going against. And like we sound miserable. It's funny. Like you listen
Consistently.
you listen to like the national pods, and Zach, who we love, Zach Lowe's like, man, the Sixers are coming on strong, and everybody's like, "Ooh, look at the Sixers," and we're like, man, they didn't win by enough points, and the backup center thing is really pissing me off.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I think the last 2 games. So the LA games, I think you could split into 2 different things. The Lakers game, I thought was honestly terrible.
Yeah.
But the Clipper game, I don't know. Every team gives up big leads in the NBA now, it seems like. So they won by 10. It was mostly comfortable the entire time. You had a little. It was a great game from Embiid, a great game from Maxey. Like overall, I thought the Clipper game was fine. The Laker game was, I thought, a travesty, but the Clipper game I thought was fine.
Yeah, the Clippers game was a nice win. I was so certain they were going to lose that game. I was so positive. I was telling anybody within earshot. I was at the game. Game in LA. I was there. I got recognized on my way in.
Whoa!
And I got scared.
Whoa!
Because I said someone was there in an Eagles jersey, and I was like, "Go Birds!"
Yeah.
I hit him with the "Go Birds." And then that guy was with did like a double take and was like, "Hey, wait a second!" Like recognizing it was me, but I was already too far. I should have turned and just like said hello to him, but I
didn't acknowledge.
No, I waved to him, but I
okay,
didn't like
okay,
stop. I should have stopped.
Okay,
I felt
yeah.
bad after I walked away that I should.
Especially in Los Angeles, is like.
I know. I
far
don't know.
away,
I think I've
yeah.
gotten worse at being a person since the pandemic, and just once I'm already past the thing, I'm like, I can't turn around. That's crazy. So I didn't. But I did see our friend Daryl Morey. I screamed some backup center names at him. He tolerated it. I also saw. I should just say this. the Kings are here because they're playing the Lakers tonight, and so with Daryl was Monty McNair, who was formerly his who worked under him for the Rockets, and Hinkie actually hired him, and Daryl was telling Monty that he should come on this podcast. So I said, if you do, then you would have to then take over Daryl's job, because that is, if you come on as the GM of another team, you eventually will become the GM of the Sixers, which is fine. And with them as well, said hello to Phil Jabbour. Do you remember who that is?
That name sounds really familiar.
Yeah, he's with the Sixers from like 2014 or 15 to 2020.
Okay.
And I remember talking about him on the podcast, and I don't remember what we said. And so when I met him, I don't think so. Well, if anything, it would have been like I was talking to Sixers Adam about it. They might have let him go or something after the bubble thing.
Okay.
Or like something, I think it was something news about Phil. He was very nice. But as I was meeting him, I was like, do you know who I am? And did I say something stupid about you on the podcast? Anyway, nothing bad happened. But
can I, you mentioned Daryl.
Yeah.
I received word about something.
What's that?
I'm hoping I can protect. I'm hoping first of all, I don't think this is that controversial or bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so remember when the Sixers signed Montrezl Harrell, and we were like, oh, here's one for Doc. That's Doc's guy. He fucking loves Doc. So Daryl loves Montrezl Harrell and has always loved Montrezl Harrell. Like legitimately loves Montrezl Harrell.
I think that's right.
Yeah, like really.
And feels an affinity for guys he's had.
Yeah.
And guys he's discovered. The emotional side of Daryl that people don't talk about enough. I think he's this analytics guy. He's an emotional gentleman. Yeah. I like that about him, but I think it is clouding his judgment on the backup center situation. Also, I told Monty McNair of the Kings that he should let us light the beam, so that we can light the beam before we ring the bell. So Sacramento has us.
What a bit that would be. I would, if they told us they could do it tomorrow, I would buy a flight right now to Sacramento.
Kings Sixers. Kings beat the Sixers and we light the beam.
Yeah.
Afterwards. Anyway, it was a good game. They played well. Like Embiid did his thing. Maxey looked good off the bench.
James Harden was hungover.
Sure. The defense held up enough.
I mean, Daniel House was hungover. James Harden.
Sure. Yeah. Kawhi hit 1 million shots, but nobody else. He doesn't miss anything against us. But like nobody else really. They hung in there and had enough good stretches where they played good basketball. And I was so certain they were going to lose that game. And after mediocre wins over the Jazz and the Lakers, even though road wins in the NBA still are good, no matter what, they should have won those games by more. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth. This was like against a pretty good team who they had, you mentioned the Sixers giving up this lead. The Clippers gave up a bigger lead in the previous matchup between these two teams, and the Sixers hung on to it. And so I was expecting that to happen in reverse this time, but they held on, and I'm not mad about wins against the Clippers when they're at full strength. So pretty good.
Two things that I took from those couple games. First of all, and people have been talking about this, I think, more, the Embiid Harden pick and roll thing. Like even early in the season, we were complaining about it. The numbers stated that they were doing it a reasonable amount, and it was incredibly effective when they were doing it. But it's different. Like your eyes can tell that. You look at how I'm reacting to it now compared to how I was reacting to it a month ago when I was throwing like a temper tantrum that they had to like talk to each other and figure it out or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I think they have both. More Embiid, actually. I think Embiid has come to Harden a little more than Harden has come to Embiid, in that Embiid sets better screens now. It seems like they set them more often, and they're running like it feels like that is now not just statistically their bread and butter or whatever.
Yeah.
It feels like we're starting to see what the offense looks like now that they're running it more, and everybody else knows that they're running it more. And we're seeing less your turn, my turn. There feels like far less isolation. And Embiid, by the way, like I said this on the game winner, was it the game winner against the Jazz? when I was saying that they hit the big shot or whatever, or Embiid hit the shot off the pick and roll in the end of the game. Like, but he paused when he did it. More and more, every game that goes by, he is catching the ball and going right up for the shot. No pump fake, no dribble, no anything. Catching the ball and going right up for the shot. And I think, well, I'll get to my second point in a second, but like that is, to me, the most noticeable thing that is happening is it feels like their offensive identity is starting to come together around that.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I mean, they started running it in earnest with like over and over in the fourth quarter to like extend the lead with like 8 minutes left. And it was like, we're going to keep going to this until you stop it. I think maybe the problem is calling it bread and butter because
that's fair.
That happens at the beginning of a meal. You don't usually have it at the end of the meal. Maybe
That's
if we
good.
called it something like pumpkin
Dessert.
pie
Yeah.
or like cannoli, like run the cannoli play.
Yeah.
Then Doc would be like, okay, end of meal. Got it. Because they stopped doing it. Then it's just like, you know, Harden drinking an espresso by himself and then Embiid drinking an espresso by himself. You don't ever, no, there's no dunking. You need to dunk.
Do you ever get the espresso after dinner when they're like, do you want dessert or coffee?
Once in a while.
Who wants
Once in a while,
coffee?
I will.
Like night. Okay.
I know you feel so cool as you do it. I feel I do it and I do a little like shimmy as I go, yeah, I'll have some. Like, why not? Sure.
Right. Before we
But
get,
no, go ahead.
before we get to my other thing, I just want to get to my other, but before we get to it, you love Gut Plus, right?
Love it.
Gut Plus.
I'm fucking changing minds. I'm
Yep.
the whatever leader of this whatever.
Yep.
I'm like preaching to people about it, and people are coming to me and saying this worked.
Changing minds.
It's wild.
The leader of whatever for whatever.
I don't want to label it, but it's good.
BodyBio. We love BodyBio. BodyBio, Mike from BodyBio, going to be at Fly the Process. We were talking about maybe giving everybody a little e-light at Fly the Process. BodyBio, supplement company from South Jersey. We love them. Family owned, family operated. Gut Plus is the product we've been talking about. It has helped Mike, who has a problem tummy. And essentially what it is if you are somebody who takes probiotics to get rid of bloat, to become more regular, to control that sort of stuff, get rid of that. Get rid of that. It's probably not working. It's probably not working because there's like 200 different probiotic strains and you need the exact one for your body. What Gut Plus does is it helps your body generate its own probiotics. So it's a prebiotic, gets rid of all the bad bacteria, allows your body to produce the right kind of bacteria. And then a postbiotic gets rid of the bloat, all that kind of stuff. We've heard from a bunch of listeners that it has worked for them due to Mike's endorsement. He's the guy for the stuff about the guy right there, the leader of stuff.
That's right.
Gut Plus. Go to bodybio.com and use code RTRS20. RTRS20. You'll get 20% off Gut Plus or anything else there. I mentioned E-Lite. We talked about E-Lite. E-Lite changed my life. I used to get cramps in my calves, in the back of my thigh, all in my feet while I was driving. And just one small capful of E-Lite in the morning in my coffee or in my water or whatever, and then one at night, got rid of it. It's just pure electrolytes. Bodybio.com, code RTRS20. We love BodyBio. Try Gut Plus. Try E-Lite. Can I just mention this other thing that I thought, along with the pick and roll?
Please.
Is that I've been talking. I talked with KOC a bunch about this when he was on, about like the scoring explosion in the NBA, right? Like I was looking like the lowest team defensive rating in the NBA is 109 something now. 5 years ago it was 104. 5 years before that it was 98. There's like 6 or 7 players averaging 30 points or more, 40 or 50 players averaging 20 points or more. There's a lot. And I'm thinking about that as I'm watching the Laker game, as basically, I know we've been frustrated with the Sixers defense a lot of times. Man, I got to tell you, it doesn't seem like anybody plays any defense right now. It just, I watch a lot of games. I was watching the Laker game, the Clipper game, a lot of Sixers games, and it does feel a little all-star gamey. And the Harden and Embiid pick and roll is impossible to guard in all-star gamey world.
Well, the answer is switching.
Right. But I think that the question for me is, once the playoffs arrive,
which they will
and
do
we've
in the
seen this
playoffs.
a little more each year, right? We've seen the difference between the regular season and the playoffs a little more each year. it feels impossible for me to ascertain how this is going to work then.
Yeah.
And how we're going to guard then too, because I want to put less, I'm going to get less angry about the Sixers about the way they guard because I'm seeing the way that everybody else is guarding. But it just feels like everything's going to start over again on April 10th or whatever, when the playoffs start. I know that right off the top of my head. April 10th, the playoffs start.
No. April 10th is the last day of the regular season.
Oh, April 9th, I thought, is the last day of regular season. April 10th?
Well, I mean,
last day of the Sixers regular season.
Yeah.
Okay.
Presumably they will not be in a play-in game, but let's not assume anything.
Yeah. All right. So anyway.
No, I don't disagree. I think like when I watch how they cover the, I've talked about this a lot, in that I think NBA teams help too much.
Yep.
But when I watch especially how they cover Harden at this stage in his career, it's like, guys, you don't need to send a double.
Yeah.
You definitely don't. Like, I appreciate what you're doing and you're doing us a favor, but I don't think that's going to happen in the playoffs. And so Harden has looked good. He took 6 shots against the Clippers, which is bizarre, but was still making the right passes and didn't seem to be. I thought his defense was fine enough. But again, when I watch a game live in the arena, I have really no sense of actually what happened. I feel like I have no idea how to watch it from there.
It's crazy. Basketball and then football, it's almost like you didn't even see the game.
No,
sometimes when you're there. Yeah.
Totally different experience. But yeah, I mean, I'm concerned that, that's why I think like the same conversation of like, how are Sixers fans enjoying this regular season? And they're now 12 games over 500. They have several longish winning streaks. They've now,
I think they're 6th in point differential.
They're a half game out of the 2 seed behind the Bucks.
Yep.
If they can get into that 2-3 matchup, then that means that they get to, into that 2-3 hole, then that means they get to avoid one of the other 4-5 teams. They can face like the Knicks or the Heat or somebody in the play-in, whatever. It's hard. I saw Kyle Neubeck talking about this on Twitter and people responding, and it's just hard to give a shit or believe it's real until the playoffs, because the Sixers haven't gotten out of the second round of the playoffs in 21 years, and
somehow feels like longer.
It feels like longer. 21 years, which is only half as long as we've been doing this podcast. The Embiid and Harden have both disappointed several times in big playoff environments. Doc Rivers, the same. And you're looking at the backup center problem and going like, that's the same. We've been here before. It's just hard to, even though they're playing well, even though Embiid is truly a stunning, like unbelievable level of performance on a daily basis. And he looks like he could get 50 every single night. If he really wanted to, if he decided to get 50 every night, he could.
And for sure he could.
And if like Harden's not here next year and Embiid wanted to average 50 like Wilt, like I think he could do it. I think he probably could do it. And he would tell his teammates, like, I'll get you guys, if I average 50 all year, I'll get you guys like all very fancy cars. And he could do it. Hopefully he doesn't have to. But he's just so good that he could. But you look at all that together and there's still like a level of skepticism from the fan base, myself included, where I go like, yeah, I mean, just so what? But I was talking to somebody today who being like, hey man, why do you get so upset about the regular season? I thought you were not that guy anymore. And I was like, yeah, I'm bad at listening to myself. Yeah, and I'm doing a bad job. But yeah, I think the wins don't feel as thrilling as they should, because they're often like, there's often a meltdown in there somewhere, or like a 1-point win against a pretty bad team, and the losses feel like catastrophe and proving like they are frauds and we were right all along, and we're right not to trust them. So it's just like they're in a tough spot in that like they've now, in Embiid's career since he started playing after his first year, they've just like done the same thing every time. They've just like done it. They've been like pretty good, and then really good, and then underwhelming, and then for a lot of the same reasons. And so at this point, like it's just like this is year 5 or 6 of this. Like something's got to change. Like someone, they have to advance in some different way.
Well, and I'm sick of hearing like people aren't high enough on this team. Like fuck, but they were in the number 1 seed before, and like we've been down this fucking road. It's not on us anymore. It's not on fans anymore to get high over regular season. It's not like we've been doing it for years. Yeah. It's on them now. Like the Sixers now have to, like, we talk about them, buy tickets, talk about, but you got to get past the second round. Like none of it counts unless you do now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's just
and like I think you referenced the you getting upset last month and wanting Embiid and Harden to like commit to actually just doing it and just deciding to win and change the narrative on each other. And deciding to like sacrifice and just fucking not give a shit about all the other stuff and just win. If it's been looking better lately, sure, but like they're always one weird play away from some body language police sirens coming out.
Yep.
And everyone going like, that's fucking weird, something's up again, what's going on? And it's just like we've just been down this road and it's all so unpleasant. And until it happens in the playoffs, we're all going to have a level of skepticism because like even during like the 9 game winning streak, like I wasn't like, this team is back, baby. And I'm feeling it. And which I have done in previous years.
We were just ready for them to disappoint us in the 9th game.
Every single time. Single time.
I wanted to talk about the Maxey moving to the bench. But before I do, because you were at the Clipper game, I thought this email was something that you needed to address.
Okay.
Writes rickysanchez@gmail.com is the email address. This comes from Rob for specifically Coach Mike. He says,
okay.
Hello, gentlemen. I think we need Coach Mike to help advise on a bizarre logistics question. What is the proper procedure for taking a lozenge when on the basketball court? Last night, I went to Sixers-Clippers game and observed a strange event when Joe checked back into the game in the 4th quarter. Right before play resumed, somebody came and handed him a small object that appeared to resemble a lozenge. He immediately began unwrapping it, but a weird thing happened. The Clippers shot a 3 immediately, and the loose ball bounced around to Embiid. He finished shoving the lozenge into his mouth just as the loose ball arrived. He got the rebound while holding the wrapper, passed the ball to his teammate, and then dropped the wrapper on the floor in the middle of the lane. You can see this on replay.
Did you see it?
I did not. I have not gone back and watched because I didn't want, the game was on 10 o'clock, so I didn't watch the game till this morning. By the way,
CJ, did you see it?
4 a.m. Anyway, CJ did not see it. He's shaking his head no.
I hate that I don't get to see CJ. It sucks. It's so unfair. So I get to look at CJ all the time. I get to make little faces at each other. I get nothing.
With the team running to the other end of the floor, people on the Sixers bench were pointing at the lozenge wrapper, and someone eventually ran out and got it. I have several questions. 1, was it deliberate disrespect to dump a lozenge wrapper on the Clippers' home court? 2, why did he wait until he checked into the game to take the lozenge? He keeps saying take the lozenge. Take the lozenge. He had just finished 5+ minutes lounging on the bench.
Suck on the lozenge?
I would say, I don't know.
Not eat.
I would say eat. I know it's not eat, but I would not say take. And number 3.
We're also assuming lozenge.
Yes.
It could be like like an electrolyte chew or something like that.
3, and final question. Doesn't having a lozenge in your mouth as you're running up and down the court sound dangerous? Please advise Coach Mike. So, Mike, do you think it was deliberate disrespect to dump the wrapper on the court?
Yeah.
Yes. 2, why did he wait until he checked in the game to take the lozenge?
Maybe they needed to go run and grab one from the back.
Maybe. And
I don't know where they keep the lozenges during the game.
And finally, doesn't having a lozenge in your mouth as you're running up and down the court sound dangerous?
Absolutely. And be choking on the court. Me watching.
That's a new one.
In the arena while Embiid chokes and dies on the court would be really a tough beat for me. I wouldn't have liked it. I was there when at the summer league when I think it was Luwawu kicked Fultz in the face in Fultz's first summer league.
Oh yeah,
and they both got hurt. I was like 20 feet from that, and I'm just like, stop, no, please not.
I know what the conversation is, by the way. After Embiid dies on the court, after choking on the lozenge, and you're there, the text is from me to you. You know we have to do a pod tonight.
So Embiid, yeah. Yeah, we
I'm
would
sorry
have to do
for
a
that,
podcast.
man. I'm sorry for that. All right.
I'm glad it didn't happen. I'm glad
Yes.
whatever electrolyte chew lozenge adjacent thing
Yeah.
went swiftly down his throat in a safe manner.
So 2 lies from Doc Rivers. So Doc Rivers says, Tyrese Maxey over the last 2 games, Tyrese Maxey comes off the bench. DeAnthony Melton starts, something that we've all talked about. Everyone wanted PJ Tucker to go to the bench. It was never going to happen. It was
Stupid.
It was never going to happen.
Just doesn't make it less dumb.
It was never going to happen. And by the way, he had a pretty good game against the Clippers. He really did. He's coming back. And I'd rather have him in the starting lineup. But anyway.
Oh my, what is happening to you?
I'm just saying Maxey
MOC writes one article and all of a sudden you're Mr. PJ Tucker.
No, I'm just saying I've always been Mr. PJ Tucker. I was Mr. Danny Green. I was Mr. Robert Covington.
No, I know, but those other guys shoot.
My point here is that not only does it help to have Melton in the starting lineup, I think it helps Maxey to have him coming off the bench as the 6th man.
What is PJ Tucker's season high in points?
8.
You looked?
I just know. I know off the top of my head. It's 8.
It's 8.
Yes.
Jaden Springer's season high in points is higher than PJ Tucker's season high in points.
That's okay. He's the worst pick in the first round of his draft. I'll take PJ Tucker over Jaden Springer.
No, he's not. That's not true at all.
Yes, he is. Okay.
Oh no, you're not going to just throw that in there. I'm going to do it.
Do what?
He's not the worst pick in the first round.
He's played less minutes than any other player picked in the first round.
That's fine. If he was on a bad team, then he'd be playing more minutes. He's better than Day'Ron Sharpe for sure. I'd take him over Cam Thomas still. He's better than Josh Christopher. I'd take him over that. Josh Christopher. Keon Johnson barely playing. Kai Jones buried on the depth chart.
Oh, CJ says PJ scored 13. I was wrong. So there
Okay.
you go. So this conversation's over. Anyway.
Josh Primo is not in the league. James Bouknight's not good and in legal trouble. No.
So-
Jaden Springer better.
So Doc says.
You don't get to throw that. I'm not going to let it go just so you can advance to the next topic of conversation.
So Doc says that Tyrese Maxey texted him about coming off the bench.
That's such.
So then here is what Tyrese Maxey says in the press conference when he is asked about coming off the bench, when it was his idea.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just got to be the bigger person, I feel like. And I feel like it was kind of trending towards that way. But I'm a professional at the end of the day, and I feel like I am a starter in this league. But I feel like our team is so good that I think we can have multiple people starting. So at the end of the day, I think I played like 33 minutes. So, I mean, it is what it is. I just go out there and play, do whatever they need me to do to win. So we won. That's what matters.
Great
He's
kid.
the best, dude. Oh my God. I hadn't
Also-
seen that. He's just incredible.
Great kid. Also did not text Doc that he wanted to come off the bench.
No, I mean, he might have been like, look, man, if you want to do it, just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I do what I got to do. So then,
Yeah.
so
But he's
then
doing
Doc
like
says,
everybody should be Tyrese Maxey.
so then Doc says, I agree with you. Then Doc says, actually, I'm going to have 3 starting lineups. Now, one would presume, I don't think he said it, but I conversed with Sixers Adam. One would presume one of them is with Maxey starting over Melton. One of them is with Melton. One of them is with Melton starting over Maxey. And one of them is Melton and Maxey starting and Tucker on the bench.
Yeah.
This is a lie. It's never going to happen. What matchup is Doc looking at that he says, you know what? Maxey would be better with this one. There's no matchup. I'm not saying that Melton is a better player or whatever, but like he's lying. He's just lying. It's fine that he's lying, I guess, to make Tyrese feel better. And I think Tyrese getting run where he can be primary offensive option or just play with Harden or just play with Embiid is a positive for him and his production. But Doc is lying.
Yeah, I mean, there's always ways to get Maxey on the court, not in the first 8 minutes of the game, to run offense.
Yeah.
On his own.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't like require a starting lineup decision. If you want in the beginning of the game for Melton to have added defense and to just prevent a little less. I mean, the fact is, like, Melton over the last like couple of weeks hasn't been very good, which is kind of bizarre. The 3 has kind of disappeared a little bit. He's still missing shots at the rim, and he's really everybody is letting a lot of dribble penetration happen. People aren't sliding their feet. They're not getting into a stance. They're not preventing the ball from getting in the paint, which forces Embiid to come over and an easy lob or whatever, or a putback. But if you want to do that, that makes sense. I understand Melton in the starter. I understand a little more time for Maxey by himself. But whatever. Like it's this decision is not going to have any impact on like what kind of team they are in the playoffs. There needs to be a move sometime in the next 3 weeks before the deadline where they get another two-way player that can absorb
the money and the luxury tax.
That can save the money and the luxury tax, which is the thing we all root for.
Yeah.
And that they can just like have another, big body able to like not disappear on the defensive end. Like you just watch, there's so many of players in the team that just Doc doesn't trust to play. And I don't trust PJ Tucker at this point. He played fine on Kawhi, but he still is hitting shots over him.
He played pretty good on Kawhi.
But he didn't do anything. Like
pretty good
he didn't stop him from getting anywhere. Like he just like leaned on him, and Kawhi is not doesn't have the quickness and athleticism that he used to have, so PJ could hang with him.
Wouldn't you rather that PJ waste his energy on guarding Kawhi, a guy that doesn't need shots and
I would rather PJ sit for a month and try to find a doctor in Germany or whatever to resuscitate his hand from the dead. So that's what I'm thinking. But yeah, at some point, I would love for PJ Tucker to be useful on the defensive end, and I would love for him to look at the basket in more than one place on the offensive end. But I was never anti PJ Tucker until this season when he has sucked. And I was never anti Montrezl Harrell until this season when he has sucked.
You and MOC can go right to hell. Mortgage CS, sponsor of the Ricky. We love Mortgage CS. MortgageCS.com/Ricky. MortgageCS.com/Ricky. If you're going to buy a home, now that the market is slowing down, within the next 6 months could become a buyer's market. Mortgage rates are a little bit higher now, of course, but people are settling in. Could become better for buyers. You need a mortgage person in your corner who only fights for you. Mortgage CS is a mortgage broker that is independent. They do not have side deals with banks that you don't really know about, that are in the fine print, that will lead them to have you take a mortgage with a certain bank, which some giant mortgage brokers do. Mortgage CS does not do that. Mortgage CS is there for you. MortgageCS.com/Ricky is where you go to become a Mortgage CS Ricky VIP, or call or text Ben, the CEO of Mortgage CS, at any time. You do it right now as you're listening to the pod. Try it. Somebody in the chat, some of the YouTube chat, try this right now. 267-391-7425. Put it in the chat, CJ. Call or text Ben right now. 267-391-7425. Why is it important that he answer you right now? Because if you're getting a mortgage, you might need a pre-qualification letter at 8 o'clock at night on a Wednesday, 9 o'clock at night. You might need it at 10 a.m. on a Saturday. They are there for you. Independent, local, and they care about Ricky people. Even if you've worked with a mortgage person, you're working with a mortgage person right now, they've already given you the rate, you feel comfortable with them, I would tell you go to Mortgage CS for two reasons. One, for second opinion. Two, they're going to educate you on the process better than anybody. So many of our listeners have gone to Mortgage CS already, and all of them have come back to us. We're the ones who have come back to us and been like, you know what, Mortgage CS is everything that you said they were. MortgageCS.com/Ricky. Go there or schedule by phone. 267-391-7425 is Ben's cell. Just mention that you're a Ricky listener. And if my talking hasn't convinced you, go to Google and read the over 200 5-star reviews. This advertisement is not a commitment to lend or extend credit. Mortgage CS is an equal housing opportunity mortgage broker. All loans are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply. Company NMLS 1464766. Visit mortgagecs.com/Ricky for more information. Mike, did you hear the big news about Josh Harris?
Considering buying the Washington football team.
Correct. Per NBC Sports Washington, I guess there was some rumor that Jeff Bezos might buy the Commanders. Per NBC Sports Washington, that leaves Josh Harris, a DC native and the owner of the 76ers and New Jersey Devils, as perhaps the top candidate to buy the Commanders. In May, Pro Football Talk reported the group led by Harris was prepared to pay $5 billion for the Denver Broncos. The group chose not to enter into a bidding war against the eventual owners, the Walton Penner Group. That group had the backing of the Walmart fortune, and in turn, the Harris Group decided to focus on the next potential NFL ownership opportunity. The Broncos sale was approved by the league in August, and the Commanders announced on November 2nd that the Snyder family would consider potential transactions. They have beaten me into submission in that I now think it would be funny if they owned the Commanders, the Devils, and the Sixers.
Great.
I think it would be humorous.
Yeah. Buy the Braves. Who gives a shit?
They're not Philly guys or anything.
Yeah, they're dickheads. They obviously are. They're not doing it for the love of the love of the community, and they're so civic pride. They don't give a shit. They're rich guys wanting to do rich guy shit. I don't care.
Yeah,
fuck 'em.
I can't get the urge up to care. This comes from Ben. This guy is a front runner to buy the Commanders. My non-basketball question is as follows: shouldn't this be illegal? Shouldn't there be a commission of the 5 major pro leagues to limit these con men from owning more than 2 teams, regardless of them being in different sports? Or that commission necessarily be compromised by the self-serving billionaires who would in no way want to limit their ability to haphazardly run as many professional sports teams as possible?
Billionaires not famous for wanting oversights and limits on what they can do.
Yeah. So there you go.
I just want to say one more thing about the Clippers game.
Yeah.
George Niang, he had a tough couple games in there because he was sick, and he should have not played when he's sick. And don't come to work when you're sick. Don't play basketball when you're sick. It's fucking January. But aside from that, he's doing it again. He's just doing really well. And is he shooting? It feels like he's shooting 75% from 3.
Every 3 he shoots, I am convinced is going in.
Yeah. He
shoots.
He doesn't need any space whatsoever to get it off. He's shooting 41% from 3. That leads the team. He's just great. He can attack a closeout. He can finish weirdly, funkily inside. And there were a couple possessions last night. He was covering someone on a switch. Was it Kawhi or was it Reggie Jackson?
Do the defense thing again.
And I know, but like last year he hurt his knee, and he then got even slower. Like there was a baseline of speed for George Niang that he had that was like, okay, he can't get any slower than this, otherwise it'll really affect his defense. And then he hurt his knee, and then he could move laterally worse than before, which made it harder, and he wasn't good defensively in the playoffs. But now he's big, he's physical, he's smart. I just, in a world where like you're trusting Dan House to not do something crazy, or Matisse to exist on the offensive end, or Shake to be at least he's an average defender, but like, sometimes he's more effective than others. George Niang is like the stabilizing force on this bench. He is positive when he's in on offense, and he is not I trust his defense more than I trust a lot of those other guys' offense in the weakness spots. And he's just been really helpful to this team. And, he's an expiring contract now. And if he leaves this season, they're like going to miss him. Like he might need to be re-upped soon. I don't know when that can happen, and I don't care. Sixers added, will tell somebody. But like he's vital to this team. And I hope that he has a better playoffs than he did last year. But he's just great. And he had that play in the Lakers game, at the end of the Lakers game, which we didn't talk about, the Westbrook play that Embiid stopped
that
him on.
Niang accidentally blocked that one.
Yeah, they called it a block. It was clearly a pass, and he just deflected it.
Yeah.
Still a good play. But yeah, not necessarily a guy I would like have in for defense, but because the Lakers didn't call a timeout, Niang was out there and he made a good play. And I like of the guys on this team, he's one of the few I just pretty much trust on both ends. In addition to Tobias, who, by the way,
had a great game.
Had 5 steals last night, 6 assists, and dove on the ground several times. We love him.
5 steals in one half, by the way.
Yeah.
He had 5 steals in the first half.
They're really running in the first half.
he had been struggling. Somebody in the Ricky Reddit said that wasn't the Ricky bump, it was the Ricky curse. And he had been struggling a little bit, but this was a great game from him, I thought. 833 Lickface is the voicemail line. Rights to RickySanchez.com is the email. Here is the voicemail.
Guys, Maxey chain here. If you guys talk about trading him again, I mean, I'll still listen to the pod, but listen, guys, look at his stats. He's still first year. Look at his stats now versus Dame's stats rookie year. He's still like a year younger than him. He's been hurt, but he was like 58% from the corner last year. Before he got hurt this year, he was like 78%. That he's like the best 3-point shooter, corner three shooter in the league. You see his range, his touch at the rim's a little bit off, but he's standing around, and Doc has made him play like 17 different roles this year. Do not trade him.
Mike?
Yeah, I mean,
I brought it up in the last pod, and you didn't get mad at me for bringing it up. I brought it up in the context of if they truly believe in Harden and Embiid as a championship contender, that Maxey would be worth more in a trade than he is for this team, and that his specific production is not particularly necessary for the Sixers. That was the context.
Well, it's definitely necessary. It's just it's less.
You could replace.
You could either
need out of that.
You need
role.
other stuff more, maybe.
Right.
I definitely don't want them to trade Maxey.
No, nor do I.
I would love for him to become a better defender. I would love for them to find other ways to improve the team without trading him. But there's not that many. And if they can go get somebody, like, I guess I was giving the Raptors shit for refusing to part with Scotty Barnes in a Kevin Durant deal. And I think that they looked stupid then, and they look even more stupid now.
Well, it's halfway through his second year. I think you probably have to, like, his numbers are a little worse than his first year.
No, I like Scotty Barnes very much. I think he's going to be a very good player.
Yeah.
But Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. And if you can get Kevin Durant with 4 years left on his contract, when you have
who's hurt again.
Sure, but he'll be back. But you have a core around him to, like, contend, which I believe that they do.
Sure.
Then you do it. And you say, like, this is going to hurt, but we believe we have a chance to win a championship in the next 2 years, 3 years with Kevin Durant here, in addition to a bunch of, Siakam and Anunoby and whoever. I just, as like an emotional fan, like, I love Maxey. I adore him. I want him to, be here for 15 years. But if we're talking about maximizing Embiid and Harden, and if they think that is a legitimate championship core, then there is a more helpful type of player that you can get who plays a little bit more defense and is bigger and isn't as exploitable on defense than Maxey. And so I understand on some level, but I also, like, get scared to trade him because he's getting so much better every time. He's
of course
he's low on as far as, like, coming back from injury right now, so he's still, like, working his way back. He was great last night. It'd be, what I would love is for Maxey to just, like, continue taking the leap and just become better than James Harden right away and be, like, develop as a passer, which I believe he is. And so then it can be Maxey Embiid with, letting Harden walk for somebody else that is, extends the prime, extends the window, that kind of things. Because if you trade Maxey the thing about trading Maxey is he makes so little. So in addition to trading him, you have to put a lot of other salaries in there to match whoever you're getting. So I don't see anybody really that, like, you feel thrilled about. But in theory, if you're going, Embiid and Harden look excellent together.
Mm-hmm.
Surrounding those guys for the next 2 or 3 years with, let's say 2 years, this year and next year, with guys that can legitimately defend and fly all over the place and stuff. Like, there's a logic to it. It bums me out. I get sad thinking about it. But, like, if you think that this is the move that would push you over to win an actual championship, then you do it. And we say thank you to Maxey for bringing us that. But I don't think those guys exist.
Vegas Mike, ready to give us a little pick?
Yeah.
DraftKings Sportsbook, official sponsor of the Ricky, official sports betting partner of the NBA. course, huge playoff game this weekend, Giants and Eagles. Many people on the internet very angry at me for picking the Giants.
You picked the Giants to win this game?
I did. I do think I am in a specific advantage to many people in that I've watched almost all of every Eagles game and every Giants game, which I don't think many people can say. And I do think that I did pick the Giants, but such is life. So it is Eagles -7.5. What do you like there?
I mean, the Eagles are just such a better team that I'm concerned. That's the concern of like they should win.
Certainly a more talented team.
34-9. And they've done a good job shutting down Saquon. And if you get to Daniel Jones, then all of a sudden he's throwing picks, giving up the ball. I don't know. They should win by a lot, and I'm scared. I'm having my nephew and my sister are coming over because my nephew's going to a college baseball camp, little recruiting day around here. So they're going to be here, and I'm like, that feels. When I watch important games with my family, it feels like they lose. I watched the Kawhi shot with my parents. I watched the Phillies lose the World Series at my bachelor party with my dad and brother and friends. So it just feels like they should lose, but they shouldn't, but they might.
Jalen Hurts at DraftKings Sportsbook over under 247.5 passing yards. I feel like that's an easy under. That's a lot of yards. Yeah.
Now I'll say over.
247.5.
Giants have no secondary.
But that's not true. That's actually not true at all.
They had a bunch of guys that got hurt over the course of the year.
They're back. Everybody's back.
Are they back?
Dory Jackson's back. Xavier McKinney's back. Julian Love's there. Like that. I'm just saying they're not a great defense for sure. But like it worries me Hurts's fucking weird shoulder thing and whatever.
Who are you rooting for?
You know,
that's it. End it.
Okay. No.
Response over. It's very clear.
Well, can I?
New York sellout. Fucking John Starks loser. Get out of here.
No.
Get out of here.
Let me finish drafting.
Get out of here.
And then right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. Win or lose on an NBA game. DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now. Use code RTRS. New customers bet $5 on the NBA and get $200 in free bets instantly. It's code RTRS only at DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner in the NBA.
CJ, kick him out.
Age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Mike,
CJ,
have you ever
kick his ass
cheered
out.
for the Dodgers?
Not against the Phillies.
Have you ever cheered for the Dodgers?
Of course.
Okay. So all I'm saying is this. If people could just relax for a second. I actually, whichever team wins, I am totally fine with. We are, when the Phillies were making their run, and all of the players and all the other teams were wearing Phillies hats, and Bryce got here, and Bryce was Mr. Philadelphia, loves the Eagles now, loves the Sixers. Everybody's like, oh, that's fine. That's totally cool. I've lived up here for 2 years. We're the Giant station in New York. I work with them. I watch them. Part of it is like where you're living and what you're doing. And like, Eagles will always be in my heart for sure. And I love them, and I'm fine. I'm legitimately fine with either team winning. Legitimately fine. But like when the Giants have a good coach, Saquon Barkley's a good kid. Like, I don't know. Julian Love's a good dude. I'm fine with them winning too. I'm fine with both teams winning.
Fuck you. Fuck Tiki Barber. Fuck Rondé Barber. Fuck the Giants. Fuck John Starks. You're a Knicks fan. You've always been a Knicks fan.
Oh, shut up.
There we go.
No, I'm serious. You tell me why it's okay for Tyrese Maxey, who has lived in Philadelphia for 2 years, to be a Phillies fan when he's not from Philadelphia. Why?
Well, if he's not a...
Why? No, I'm asking you. Why is that okay?
You can adopt a team to the place that you move, but not at the expense of the team that you're leaving behind. is
But
the
it's
very
not at the
obvious
expense.
difference.
It's-
I would never root for the Dodgers over the Phillies.
What
That
if
would
you
never
worked
happen.
what if you were doing a television show with the Dodgers?
I would,
Honestly.
if I am doing a
Just give me
television
an
show
honest
about the
answer.
Dodgers.
Instead, you're doing a TV show. You're doing every day. Your job is to do a TV show with one of the shows. You're doing 4 shows. Let's say you're like some kind of producer who works on 4 shows. One of the shows is a show about the Dodgers, the current Dodgers.
I'd root for them against every team except for the Phillies.
Right. Okay.
I would.
So if you're watching the current Dodgers who you work with on a consistent basis, and you wouldn't be like, you know what, whoever wins is fine with me.
I would feel
okay.
I could, if they lost, I could feel like, all right, at least the Dodgers won, but I would be rooting for the Phillies. There's no way I would be rooting against the Phillies or the Eagles.
You've never
or the
been
Sixers.
in that. I'm just saying you've never been in that situation.
Look, that's fine.
Yeah.
You've just always been a New York sports fan, and that's something that we can all accept.
You've always been a New York sports fan.
Look, it's starting to add up. The numbers are starting to add up. I'm a numbers guy. I'm running the analytics.
You've always been a New York sports fan.
It's becoming pretty clear.
You went to every Eagles game for 10 years. You went to the Super Bowl. You were the program director of the flagship station. You're a New York
I don't know.
sports fan.
Seems like things change.
You've done a Sixers podcast twice a week for a decade.
New York sports fan.
There's pictures of you in Dodgers t-shirts. You're a fucking fraud. Don't even start with me. When was the last time
I
you've
will
even
root
been
for
to
the
Philadelphia?
Dodgers when they play anybody but the Phillies, because Alyssa's a Dodgers fan.
Okay. Oh, well, all right. What if Alyssa worked for the Dodgers?
Same thing.
Oh, okay.
I don't root for the Clippers. I don't even really.
You ever root for the Lakers?
To make Alyssa happy sometimes, but no, not against the Sixers.
But every other team, you root against the Lakers. You root for the Lakers.
No, I have a tough time rooting for it. I'll want her to be happy, but I'll be secretly happy when they lose.
Okay. All right.
That's how I feel about the Lakers.
What about the Rams?
No, I don't care about the Rams. I never care about the Rams or the Chargers.
Well, that's a fair thing. I actually believe that. This comes from Paul, writes RickySanchez@gmail.com. I'm currently in the U.S. Army and away from the local Philly sports media culture. Thanks for all the great work on the pod. It allows me to vent my frustrations from Doc not giving B-Ball Paul enough time, Harden looking a little washed, and generally just feeling connected to the city while being so far away. As a member of the military, I occasionally like to partake in a military discount. Since B-Ball Paul is very strict about his $100 sweatshirt price, I figured I would test him. I sent him a DM asking for a military discount on the sweatshirt, emphasizing that it would enhance my play at the on-base gym and show other soldiers what Out the Mud is. He responded, "Thanks, but sorry, I don't do no discounts." This makes me like him even more, giving no discounts to anyone at all and standing by his quality product like a true titan of the industry. As for the discounts, I'll have to stick with my free Denny's Grand Slam. Finally, I work on tanks, so throwback to the tanks versus 1 billion babies debate. Having worked on tanks firsthand,
that was deep in the pandemic.
Annihilate them. Yeah. So B-Ball Paul not giving.
Wait, the guy said that tanks would annihilate the babies?
Yes.
Yeah.
But he said million babies, not billion, and billion is 1,000 million. So
for sure. And look, no one's saying that it would be fast, but the babies don't. There's no resistance. There's no coordination among the babies. It's pretty clear that at a certain point, the babies would all just slowly die from this tank.
Unless the babies united against.
But how could they do that? They're babies.
There's a billion of them.
They don't coordinate. One of them is like licking their balls. The other one is like just spitting on ground.
They're
climbing onto each other. They're like rubbing each other's faces. They're not like, we got to go get this tank. Come on.
Think of every person in
Caden,
America.
go get it.
Think of every
I'll go this way and you do that. There's no coordination. They're just babies. They're just going to flounder around. They're fish.
One tank. Think of this. Think of every person in the United States right now. It's 4 times that number of people.
Yes,
babies.
But they're not doing anything.
But one
tank. Would 4 billion pieces of paper do anything?
But it's only one tank.
It doesn't matter. It's one of them is a conscious. If someone is using the tank that is an adult, unless it's a baby running the tank, then maybe the baby would lose in that situation.
2 voicemails from the same person. 833 Lickface. 833 Lickface. Here's the first one.
Hey, Spike and Mike. Another Mike here in Doylestown. First time caller, long time listener. Doc Rivers is killing me. is killing me. It's killing me. It's killing us. You guys. So you guys are talking about possibly trading Maxey for a return. That's Doc's job to figure that out. When he came back, the press conference after the Lakers game was the most absurd thing I've ever seen. I've never seen a close win coach come out like that and then talk about making, they're going to use 3 starting lineups because he can't figure out how to make in-game adjustments. I'm just flabbergasted. And don't trade Maxey. Don't even think about it.
I guess.
So wait, 2 hours later, hold on, we got another voicemail from the same person.
Spike and Mike, it's Mike again. I've come down to the conclusion that Doc Rivers hates me. There's no other reason why he would not play B-Ball Paul, who averages about, I don't know, off the top of my head, probably 0.8 offensive rebounds a minute, or Tyrese Maxey. Remember that teardrop that Tyrese Maxey used to have? And, like Doc, and you guys are talking about like trading, but like Doc, like he's, Max used to make those shots, all those ones that, he said he was going crazy about. Remember the like floater game that Maxey had, and just how Doc doesn't work the NBA offense. And Doc, like, because I have a lot, like these are my favorite guys, got cards, everything. Doc.
There we go. Hates him personally. It
I
was
wish I liked.
particularly bad.
Maxey was
Montrez game.
hitting. Maxey was hitting some floaters back in the Clippers game last night. Looked good. I get not wanting to do it as much, but it is a play he's comfortable with, just like Embiid in the mid range. What was the thing he said before? I was going to comment on that.
The Montrez, that Doc hates him personally because he keeps playing Montrez and he won't play.
Oh, the 3 starting lineups is what I meant to say.
Oh yeah, because he's too dumb to.
In a vacuum, taken away from all other context, the idea of being flexible with the starting lineup is something I've been asking for forever. Forever. Like, don't be rigid. Try shit out during the regular season. Get a feel for which lineups work well together. Get guys comfortable in being ready to play in any situation, sort of like how the Phillies bullpen was used this year. Like, just come in and be ready to play, and like have the trust of there can be consistency without like it's the same lineup every fucking time and we're just going to do this shit. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to do that. But I don't trust Doc to do that. I don't trust him to like keep his word. I don't trust him to try shit out in the playoffs. I don't trust
him to keep his word.
I don't. I really don't. Like, I really, really don't. He's gonna like. I don't trust him to like manage personalities. Really, I don't trust him. I don't trust him to do it. So I don't know who the answer is. Doc's obviously going to be here for the whole year, but we're on the ride again, and you're on the ride being like, I hope it doesn't break, but it's broken so many times.
Truly is. An email from Jordan writes, RickySanchez@gmail.com. Hey guys, sending love from Harrisburg, PA. Basketball question. In the playoffs, who do you want with the ball with 18 seconds to go, down 1?
I want an Embiid Harden pick and roll. It's the cannoli play.
Yeah.
18 seconds left is prime cannoli time. Let's see what the defense does. And if they switch, then Harden gets the ball to Embiid at the elbow with 8 seconds left. Then he can make something happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you have to run. Yeah, I would. Here's what I would say. If it is Harden shooting a step back or Joel Embiid putting the ball on the floor at any point, I would throw up. I would jump out the window. Rebel.
Yeah, I mean, if
I'm not thrilled with it either.
If Embiid does a one dribble at the rim type thing, it's just he shouldn't be dribbling from like 25 feet away.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Yeah.
If he's like gets a guy to bite on a pump fake and then drives, that kind of thing is fine. But you know what? The Harden's hit a couple. Him and Maxey have both hit a couple like, take the bump and one type fouls. Embiid's been doing that a lot lately also. Just like Harden and Embiid are both so good at drawing fouls, and it's frustrating sometimes when they don't get the calls because then it just looks like shit. But they're both good at doing it and getting a decent look at the rim and making those. But like, as far as like who is the toughest shot maker on this team?
Shake.
It's it might be Shea. But I was gonna say it's Tobias.
Yeah.
Tobias hit a ton of tough shots last night. I didn't love them necessarily because they were difficult shots, and he doesn't necessarily have to take them. But as far as like
he
a
can get a
contested
jumper
mid
at
range
15
go,
feet. Yep.
He gets a good look off, a lot of the time, and he's they're never gonna give him the ball in that spot, like and say, okay, Harden, go to the corner, Embiid be in the dunker spot. Like that's not gonna happen, but he is capable of hitting some tough shots, and he's won a couple games for him.
So you weren't around for we didn't do the Q-tip thing on the last thing. And I feel like you need to hear the original call. All I need, because we have a follow-up from Becky, who now calls every week. I feel like you need to hear the original call and just know that there's a follow-up call with a similar story, and there's several emails with a similar story. For those who haven't heard, we had an email about whether we use Q-tips. I said it's bad for you. Mike said he uses Q-tips. Here's the first one.
Mike, this is the public service call encouraging you to stop shoving those Q-tips into your ears. True story. A number of years ago, I had what I thought was an ear infection and had a fever. I thought it was no big deal. Turns out my fever spikes to 104 degrees. I'm incoherent, stumbling around my house. They take me to the hospital. They put me in a medically induced coma to give me 2 weeks of IV antibiotics because I suddenly had bacterial meningitis. You know why? Because I shoved a Q-tip into my ear like a young Mike Levin, and the tip of it broke off in my ear without me knowing it. And having that shit in my body caused me to almost die. So, Michael, stop doing that, or at the very least, if you're going to put the Q-tip in your ear, when you take it out, admire it like you do when you take a poo. Look at it, make sure the tip's still there so it doesn't kill you. All right? This is Frank. Love you guys. Can't believe this is the first thing I've called about, but at least it wasn't one of those wipe from the front, wipe from the back calls. Later.
Okay.
Thank you, Frank.
Yeah. So we got follow-up.
Yeah, you look at the Q-tip, both to see how yellow it is because it's fun, and if there's any yellow or gunk coming out of there, be like admire it. But you're not just definitely like popping it in there and going like trash, immediate. You got to look. I think, Frank, something happened to break off a Q-tip in your ear.
Can I say we got at least 7 or 8 emails with not I ended up in a medically induced coma, but I ended up very sick because of this, and another. So finally, we actually had somebody ask a doctor, 833 Lickface.
Becca here, weekly caller, medium long listener, quick Q-tip weigh-in. I had a physical on Friday, and you are damn certain that I asked about the Q-tip situation, and my very smart primary care physician broke it down. She said, do not use Q-tips. However, the more important point is the data is that not the majority of people don't need to clean their ears. They are self-cleaning. The regular functional human's ear is self-cleaning, 85%. Then there are 15% of people whose ears, for whatever reason, not self-cleaning. They do, in fact, need to go and get the procedure. I just thought this is important so that not everyone is like, oh, I got to stop Q-tips and go get this professional cleaning. Most people don't need to. And then she kind of acquiesced at the end and like, yeah, if you're one of those self-cleaning and it's just like stuff around the rim, like you can be trusted to take the Q-tip and just kind of rim it out. Staying right close to the opening.
She's getting arrested for stealing Q-tips.
I hope someone's already
Q-tip
made
fraud.
This point, so you don't need to actually play this voicemail now that I'm thinking about it. But there it is. Good luck with it.
So as KOC and I said, there's a lot of like doctor services or whatever you go and they'll clean the. So there you go, Mike. Any comment?
Look, if I don't do it every day.
Yeah.
But like once in a while, if I feel like there's something in there, I'm gonna use a Q-tip carefully, responsibly.
Jesus Christ!
And I'm gonna make sure it doesn't break off inside of my body. I'm not crack-a-lacking stuff in there. I'm not just like going up and down, like pulling like I'm a friggin' truck driver, yanking the horn.
A truck. Oh, I was wondering what the truck driver.
Yeah. I wanted to be clear that I wasn't saying the truck drivers clean their ears out like that. But my roommate in college my good friend Corey one time got his ears cleaned out in that procedure.
I had it done once.
And he said, in college, he said like it changed his life in a scary degree because he could hear what people were saying. Then it was he must have been so clogged that like the regular sounds of people was alarming to him in his daily life going forward.
About a year and a half ago, I got dizzy because it was clogged. It wouldn't like I couldn't. I used like the drops and the drops didn't do anything. So I went to urgent care. It was right before a pod once. Somebody could probably find a pod. And they did the water thing, put the wash of water. You saw what was in there. It's a lot in there.
Sure.
Last thing, Jordan also.
Mine's pretty clear.
Jordan also said,
Q-tip responsibly.
send an email or send a non-basketball question. Write to RickySanchez@gmail.com. A jigsaw. Mike, here are your two choices.
Okay.
A, you have to domesticate a wild animal as a pet. No help from a partner, and it cannot live in a cage.
Okay.
B, every time you drive for the rest of your life, you have to drive a tractor trailer.
Tractor trailer sounds kind of fun. Domesticating a wild animal seems difficult and time consuming.
Raccoon, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Do I get to pick which one?
They'd say domesticate like it's even possible to domesticate one single wild animal.
I would have to get it would escalate. I'll say the higher upside is the domesticating a wild animal.
Yeah.
I could feel pretty cool about it if I just like, a young bobcat or something.
Yeah. Start a great TikTok account for the bobcat.
Yeah, or just like there's on Real Housewives of Potomac, one of the housewives gets a bird and scares the other housewives.
Okay.
The bird is named T'Challa, and everyone is upset about a bird just flying around the house and stuff. It's pretty good, but I could use that. I could be like, I'll just have a bobcat around. It's as like a fun factor and intimidation if I need it. I don't really bring people to my house to intimidate them very often, but I could start. If I had a bobcat, I would start.
It would intimidate them.
Yeah.
It's like when Mike Tyson had the tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the next game? It's Thursday night against who? I don't even know.
We got the Blazers.
The
Josh Hart game. We just played. Covington played a little bit. Had a nice player too. The game. Yeah, we got the rest of the trip is Blazers, Kings, and then a couple days off. Actually, weirdly.
Yeah.
Got to keep winning. I don't know what it's gonna do for me. I don't know if I'm going to be changed by the winning in the regular season, but the alternative is losing, which makes me feel bad. The winning doesn't make me feel anything, and the losses make me feel bad. So, I guess I'd prefer the nothing. Nothing.
As usual, we end up with nothing.
That's right.
We will talk to you Sunday, right? Sunday after the that game, after the Kings game, and we'll have the Kings GM on Sunday morning, right?
Oh yeah, we should.
Yeah,
we totally should.
He's welcome. He's welcome.
And you'll have your best Giants colors on there.
Yep.
Wearing a Michael Strahan jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling good. Amani Toomer.
Yep. Oh, the historical Giants that I also love.
Yeah.
Well, the first 10 minutes of the pod will be about Michael Strahan. Second 10 minutes will be about LT, and then the final part of the pod will be about how Phil Simms is underrated historically.
Yeah, it's time. Finally, the transition is complete.
Yeah. We will. That game. Oh, the game is on the Saturday night. The Kings game is on during the Sixers game or during the Eagles game, actually.
Yeah.
So, all right.
It's gonna be tricky.
We will talk to you next time. Are you done with TTP?
Yeah. Lick face.